All right, what's up, y'all? AWB, I'm back at it. First thing I want to say is go ahead, if you haven't already, go ahead and pick up my book. Go ahead and show the link right here. It's right here. It's on Amazon. So go ahead and pick that up. You also can view it on Kindle if you have Kindle. But yeah, Eyes on Authority. How to hold public servants accountable for from streets to the screen, documenting the fight for freedom. Basically, it's just about holding our public servants accountable and for them to know our rights and for us to know our rights. So this is the Civil Rights Lawyers channel. I haven't seen this video yet. It was when it came out 2 days ago, and I was gonna watch it by myself, but I decided let me just do a stream, and I'll watch it on the stream with y'all. So I get everybody's thoughts and opinions on it.
The most amazing thing has happened in a small town in Grayson County, Kentucky.
There's something about that Southern hospitality, that warm, inviting, and everybody knows everybody.
How many times did you punch me? A bunch. How many times did you punch me? A bunch. I was putting out a fire, you idiot. Hey, take that.
A man's house caught on fire, or FAR,
Put the fire out.
as they say in both Kentucky and here in West Virginia.
Damn lithium battery blowed up.
It sounded like the bomb went
Oh, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
That man should be able to risk his own personal safety to put out that fire, right?
Well, hell, let me get that back in there then. No. Get out. I ain't gonna let my house burn it.
Well, wrong, according to these cops who showed up on the scene and beat this man to a bloody pulp and arrested him just for trying to put out a fire at his own home.
You're gonna stop me from saving my own home. My safety is none of your concern.
But that's not the most amazing part of this story. When the government went to have this man and his son indicted by a grand jury, I kid you not, they indicted the police officer instead.
Somehow the grand jury reversed the district court's finding and indicted Sergeant Newton on misdemeanor charges. This action is unprecedented in my experience.
Can the grand jury do that? Well, I have the body cam that turned this grand jury against the government. Let's go through it. You know, when police step over the line and violate your rights, what makes it so egregious is the imbalance of power. You simply can't do anything to stop it at that moment. Just like that, you're up against a giant that you cannot fight alone. That's exactly what happened to a man in Florida who broke his back and became paralyzed in 2021. Instead of the government, he found himself fighting his own insurance company, who only offered him $20,000. But this man did not settle for only $20,000 for his injury. Instead, he called today's sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, and they were able to help him win over $120 million. The reason I like Morgan & Morgan is that they fight for their clients just like I do. As the nation's biggest personal injury law firm, they have the firepower to take on insurance companies and win. The best part is that you don't pay anything unless you win your case. If you or someone you know has been injured and needs help, you can start your claim now at forthepeople.com/thecivilrightslawyer, found in the description, and filling out this simple form, or by scanning the QR code on the screen from your phone's camera. Now let's get back to the video. And welcome back to the Civil Rights Lawyer channel, where by subscribing, you can do all of these things. Be entertained, be informed, be educated on constitutional rights, and also perform the very serious task of helping to hold your government accountable for acts of misconduct that we document on this channel. As I mentioned, this video comes to us from, I believe it's pronounced Lichfield, Kentucky, which is in Grayson County. Now, this has been in at least one news report that I've seen, but this was actually submitted directly to me by the guy in this video, Lanny. Now, Lanny, if you've ever lived in West Virginia or Kentucky, you know Lanny.
You're getting ready to go to jail. I'm going to shit going to jail. All right. You lied to me. You said the fire department.
You do not get to swing on the police.
I did swing until you hit me.
Have a seat for a second.
What the is your name? This right here is going to cost you your job. Yeah, it's going to cost you, big boy, because you've never met somebody like me.
I don't know his specific genealogy, but I guarantee he's one of the descendants of the people who George Washington and others placed in these mountains to both stop the British and also the Native Americans from attacking people in the East. These people have always been fiercely independent. They were willing to fight the largest empire on earth over like a few cents in taxes. You don't mess with their sense of liberty and independence. You don't mess with their stuff. Not a lot has changed in some areas of the country. Anyway, Lanny's house caught on fire. In Appalachia, when your house catches on fire, yeah, you call the fire department, but you don't sit around and wait on the government to do it for you. Yeah, you call 911 if somebody breaks into your house, but you don't wait on the police to arrive. You protect yourself. You protect your family. You protect your home. And that's what Lanny was in the process of doing with his son and other family members when police officers from the Lichfield Police Department arrived. Now, the fire department was not there yet. The police arrived.
I don't know. I'm not sure what we're dealing with just yet.
Golly,
Where's it at?
it's in the basement.
Negative.
Sir, come on out.
10-4, take off.
Yeah, come on out. Is it just you guys down here?
Damn lithium battery blowed up.
It sounded like the bomb went.
Oh, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
You got it put out?
No, it's still going.
Officers ordered Lanny and his son Darren to leave the smoke-filled house for what they said were safety reasons, but the pair resisted.
Where's the fire department?
Well, let's get back.
Well, hell, let me get that back in there then.
No. Get out.
I ain't gonna let my house burn. There's hundreds of thousands.
Listen here.
And when they resisted, Officer Justin Cockrell tased the son Darren Fentress.
This is the premium Garmin Duffel 45 liter by Half Day. It's a transforming 2-in-1 travel duffel bag for long weekends, weddings, and business trips.
You're getting ready to go to jail. I'm going to shit.
So they try to put stuff out and grab stuff out of their house because their house on fire, and you tell them you're gonna take them to jail for that.
All right.
Yeah.
Get out now. Get out now. Get out now. Dude.
Hey, stop!
Right here, hit this fire extinguisher.
At that time, his father, Lanny, was holding a garden hose because he was trying to put out the fire. And this is what the cops allege, that Lanny, holding that garden hose, swung it at the officers.
Get out here now.
No, I'm done. I done got the fire out.
You are done. You're both going to jail.
I'm going to
For what? How can you go to jail for that?
go to jail.
You're going to jail for assault third, so is
How the I saw
because you
anybody?
touched the police officer. That's why.
I will.
Do it, mother.
Do it.
Get on the ground now.
You think calling me a mother in my home?
Get on the ground now.
I'm not getting on the ground.
So then Officer Newton tased him. Then when they finally got Lanny out of the house, as they're walking him to an ambulance, you can see these visible taser probes sticking out of his chest and his stomach, and his face apparently now a bloody pulp.
It's bullshit.
Ma'am, step back now. Step
I'm
back.
going to take a picture of my husband.
You can take a picture, but you can also step back.
Man,
Yeah, you overstepped your bounds this time.
Okay.
Lanny was not happy at all, and he was not going quietly.
What gives you the right to make me leave my home when I'm trying to put a fire out? You lied to me. You said the fire department.
And they learned.
They lied to me. They said the fire department. You are.
Was to not go back inside that home for your
No,
safety.
you made me come out.
Yes,
I wasn't fighting. I was fighting to get back in the damn house to put the fire out. What the is your name?
Sergeant Newton, sir.
Who?
Sergeant Newton.
What Newton?
N-E-W-T-O-N.
No. What's your dad's name?
My dad's name has nothing to do with this. He's not from here.
Oh. Well, you won't be from here very long. You know this is wrong.
No, not sir.
Look at him. That is. Imagine you putting out a fire in your house and you get beat up like this. This is terrible.
You're going to stop me from saving my own home. Hey, my safety is none of your concern. This right here is going to cost you your job.
After this happened, back when the government was still controlling the narrative here was the first news reports that came out of the situation. The headline was this: father, son arrested for fighting police after Lichfield basement fire reveals guns, ammo. 2 men were arrested in Lichfield after fighting police officers that were attempting to clear a fire in a basement, which contained a large amount of ammunition and guns. The 2 men attempted to re-enter the home despite being told to stay away from the building. When
What?
blocked from entering by officers, both men shoved the officers, who then told the men they were under arrest. Lanny Fentress continued to resist arrest by punching and throwing things at the police officers before being tased as well. Afterward, both men were apprehended. While being treated by EMS, Lanny Fentress continued to be uncooperative and refused to give the officer his information. Both men were then transported to the Grayson County Detention Center. Lanny Fentress is charged with menacing, third-degree terroristic threatening, third-degree assault of a police officer, and second-degree wanton endangerment of a police officer. Darren Fentress is charged with menacing, resisting arrest, and second-degree wanton endangerment of a police officer. Both of the officers were treated for smoke inhalation and injuries at the emergency room and released. Oh, thank God the officers are okay. This is how things normally go when police officers control the narrative.
That is terrible. Could you imagine that being the story that's told on the news? Meanwhile, you see what really happened.
And everything was going swimmingly until the cases were presented at the grand jury.
A Litchfield police officer responding to a house fire is accused of assaulting a man and his adult son. Sergeant DJ Newton went to court this morning and pleaded not guilty.
Things get heated after Litchfield police and other first responders were called to a home on Risen Drive. This is Sergeant DJ Newton's body cam. The house is smoky from the fire. When officers told Lanny Fentress and his adult son Darren to leave the home, fearing for their safety, they wouldn't leave.
Get out now. Taser, taser, taser.
A Grayson County special grand jury has now indicted Newton for this incident for misdemeanor charges of assault, terroristic threatening, menacing, and criminal trespassing. Lanny and Darren were arrested.
That's exactly what happened.
And charged with menacing, assault, and wanton endangerment of a police officer. But those charges
That's not what happened. That's why you're going to hear those charges being dropped.
have now been dropped. Litchfield police say Newton is on leave without pay after being indicted. Officer Justin Cockrell is not facing any charges. An internal police investigation is also underway. Lanny Fentress messaged WDRB Investigate saying the body cam speaks for itself.
Newton's attorney, Thomas Clay, released a statement saying somehow the grand jury reversed the district court's finding and indicted Sergeant Newton on misdemeanor charges. This action is unprecedented in my experience.
The Lichfield Police Department issued the following statement regarding Officer Newton's indictment. On November 13th, 2024, Lichfield Police Department became aware of an indictment issued by Grayson Circuit Court stemming from a special called grand jury against Sergeant DJ Newton for multiple misdemeanor charges, including assault in the 4th degree, terroristic threatening in the 3rd degree, menacing, and criminal trespass in the 1st degree. Lichfield Police Department will update with more information as it becomes available. We would defer to the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office for specific information on these charges. At this time, Sergeant Newton is on leave without pay. Lichfield Police Department cannot comment on any internal action being taken at this time until the final disposition of any charges. So they had called a special grand jury just to indict Lanny. But remember, I told you about the fine people from West Virginia and Kentucky. I think when they saw that body cam footage and they compared it to the statement that was provided or the testimony that was provided by Officer Newton, they saw that it didn't match up. Just like you see in many of these videos, what the officers are describing is not what happened. They saw a man who was defending his own home from this fire, and they believed it was reasonable not to let police officers drag you out of your own house, especially when they weren't the fire department. The fire department wasn't there. They had no solution. They had no business dragging him out of his own house, much less beating him to a pulp and tasing him for, quote, his own safety. That wasn't for his own safety. That was because he didn't do what they told him to do and was willing to physically resist, which he did. Because it was on body cam, the grand jurors got to see what actually happened, and they turned the tables on the government. So now the government is
and that's how I wish it would go this way more often, where you get real people looking at that, look at the evidence or the body cam, and they decide this officer is all obviously wrong.
prosecuting its own cop, which it doesn't want to do. So they have to bring in a special judge just to hear the case. And I guess they probably have to bring in a special prosecutor as well. So what I would look for to happen is for this to go away. The grand jurors, the citizens, wanted that officer prosecuted, but the government will not want that officer prosecuted. And I suspect that the charges will disappear quietly, unless they can't disappear quietly. And that's where you come in. If you love America and you love freedom and you believe in the right of an American citizen, the right of a Kentuckian to defend his own home against fire and not to be dragged out of it by anybody, then you can support Lanny by spreading this footage and letting people know what's going on here. The people have spoken through this grand jury. Don't let the government undo that. If this falls out of the public eye, the government is going to dismiss the charges against the officer, somehow recharge Lanny under Kentucky law. I'm sure they can do it. And this time they'll do something differently. But don't let them do that. Share this footage. Let people see what happened and decide for themselves. While I couldn't show a lot of the violence in this video, I will link the raw footage below so that you can watch it for yourself. You can see Officer Newton or one of the officers just repeatedly punching Lanny in the face. I mean, you do not cause that level of destruction on somebody's face without doing it intentionally by striking them or punching them in the face. The decision was made here to beat Lanny. I didn't see any bloody faces on behalf of the officers, despite what the news media said in the initial reports. I'm sure there's going to be more update videos on this one. Maybe I'll interview Lanny as well. We'll have to see. You can follow along by subscribing both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. Follow me on Twitter at JohnBryanESQ, especially if you like completely unrelated history stuff. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.
And if you haven't already, go ahead and grab my book. Yeah, I released this book. Actually, I think it's maybe a couple months ago, during my recovery process. If you don't know, I was in a vehicle accident and I was in a coma for a month. And a lot of things happened with my channel, and like YouTube, they demonetized me. So I had to work on getting back monetized. But it's just been a lot going on. So during my recovery, I decided that I need to, at least write about my experience. And one way I did that was by creating that book, Eyes on Authority. Let me go ahead and share my screen. This right here.